I'm going to talk about the ecosystem. I'm not going to be long. There's no presentation involved in this. I don't know. Can we see the screen, Nadia? Yeah? Because everything that I'm going to show is going to be on the screen. What I'm going to go through is basically the parts that bring together the ecosystem. What does the ecosystem do? And, well, how you can help that ecosystem evolve. That's pretty much what ecosystem is about. Before that, we spoke about Urbit before. So if anybody wants to join our channel, you go to the Urbit CLI and you enter this command. It's very simple. I'm not going to explain how to do it. Okay, this is kind of a joke, right? But anyway, seriously, there's actually a Fuck Google channel on Urbit. And if you want to follow our information that I publish on Urbit, you enter this simple command, which is publish and publish action, some brackets, subscribe, debuild, fastled, and all those sigmas and everything. It's very simple. Right, yeah, let's skip this. Okay, guys, on a serious note, right? So there is actually on our GitHub, if you go to github.com/cybercongress, you will find loads and loads and loads of very interesting information, and all the information that I publish on the ecosystem, 99% of it is first published on GitHub, and then it's somewhere else. So if you can't find it somewhere, it's probably on GitHub. Where is the information kept, right? We have a repo which is called Congress. Inside the Congress repo, there is a folder. Guys, I can hear you really. Thank you. Inside the folder, the Congress repo, there is a folder called Ecosystem, right? Inside this ecosystem, there is a lot of files. First of all, there's a description, like a README. What is this folder about? And what is the ecosystem? Cyber ecosystem, yeah? It's not an official name, but it's just a name in between us to understand the divisions between inside the team. I'm not sure how to put it. So anyways, yeah, so what are the main coordination efforts that the cyber ecosystem will and should include? Helping to create a validator pool, which is probably the most important thing right now. Helping to build communities, connecting teams. And it's not just internal teams, we're talking about external teams, teams that want to open source, commit some open source code. It doesn't have to be code, it could be anything at all. Helping R&D, I will talk about it in a minute. Cross-promote products, protocols, provide strategic grants in the future, obviously, because it's not set up as of right now. Creating and taking part in government's proposals. Once again, this is obviously for the future, but obviously, I will try, well, I will not try, I will do, when in this testnet, I will try and play around with the governance and see how it works. VC and partnerships, creating useful and unique documentation and working towards a common goal, which is quite obvious. This is like the main file that you can find the info on. There is actually a paper that I published on the cyber ecosystem, which is obviously a work in progress. What you can find in this paper is an abstract information about what it is talk about and the blocks that form the cyber ecosystem, which I'm going to talk about. Each block, by the way, contains some metrics well, in the future, I will get to that in a second, so let's not skip parts. So the first block is community work, and this is quite, obvious and understood and understandable. We need scientists, we need geeks, we need researchers, we need validators, we need hackers, we need masters of the web, Web3 users, we need heroes, whatever, right? You name it, we need them. And it's kind of not obvious how to do that block alone, not talking about the other blocks. Personally, I believe that the Cosmic community is obviously the most important community right now, right? Obviously, for one, we are a Tendermint-based chain. We need validators. Those validators have experience in validating those kind of chains. And, we are already part of the Cosmic community. If you go on the Cosmonauts World website, you will find us sitting there right at the top. If you go on the Cosmos forum, you will find us at number 16, I think. Anyways, and you will see that we publish quite a lot of info in the subreddit of Cosmos Network. Yeah, so here I talk about, there are several communities to us that are VC vital. Those are the Ethereum, Urbit, and IPFS communities. and Web3 and many more. So it's not like a particular order, right? The Cosmos community is obviously already included because I think we are a part of the Cosmos community, at least for now. We are a sovereign chain, but we are a part of the Cosmos community. So this is why I'm not included it here. We proposed drops. We spoke about those drops and gifts, whatever you want to call them, for quite a while. I don't see any more reasoning going over it once again, but you could either go to the white paper, have a look at it, or whatever, right? I listed a couple of other communities, right, that are important to us, and I want to make sure that you understand that it's not the foundations that we're after, it's the computers. For me personally, Filecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's a computer. It's a big distributed computer. In the 70s, every single sci-fi writer spoke about its supercomputers. Now we have those supercomputers. And when I speak about communities, it's not the team, right? It's not like I hate the teams, right? But it's not the team that I'm after. I'm after the computer itself, the technology that stands behind it, and this is the partnerships that I want to get. For each of those blocks, because I'm not going to go over each one of them in as much detail as I went over this one, I propose a metric that we're going to use and how to measure these metrics, so you could find the information here. There's some info about CyberCon. I'm not sure if all of you guys have, I think most people were here on CyberCon 0, right? So yeah, there is even some organizers I can see there in the back dancing, right? And a shame you can't see them, but they're dancing right now. So yeah, CyberCon is the first, to my knowledge, conference organized by a superintelligence, which is called a smart contract. Very simple. And we wanna do another CyberCon. I mean, right now, it's not on the agenda, agenda tomorrow or the next month, obviously, but it is on the agenda for next year, I hope. And we want to try some innovational things, like see how we can interact with people, invite cool people. It will probably be in Europe somewhere, I presume, so don't take my words for it, but anyways, yeah. Once again, friendly aliens and partnerships, right? So I've spoke about the PFS protocol. There is things like OS, like Tails, for example, and I believe that every single tool that is speaking about privacy, we can connect to. We can have some kind of a connection, or rather they can have a connection to us. They can find something in us that we do that will match something that they do, if that's at all make any sense. So yeah, so that's kind of my target as well. Governance and proposals, this is quite obvious, right? So I'm not going to go over it. Hacking and open source, right? This is quite important. We believe in open source. I've spoke about this like 1 million times, so no philosophy today. But there's Gitcoin, and as of today, Gitcoin is probably the only resource that is working somehow. Let's not talk about how good or how bad. I think it's good to an extent. Anyways, yeah, and Gitcoin for us is really important. So we fund a lot of issues through Gitcoin. We are actually currently at like number 40, I think, on the top between like 200, 300 organizations. And it's not about the amount you fund, but anyways, doesn't matter. Let's skip that. But Gitcoin is really important, and we will continue funding our issues on Gitcoin. So if you go on Gitcoin /cybercongress, you will find our profile. We try to publish user stories to each issue that we publish on there, user cases, what you should achieve in order to solve the issue and get the funding. So basically, if you're an open source developer and you wanna get involved, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it just because you like the project, but you could also get paid for it, right? So that's kind of a bonus. Research and R&D. So when I speak about research and R&D, I wanna take a step back here. There is a lot that we base on values. A lot of the technology that we evolve, to me personally at least, is based on shared values that members of the team have. And we want to prove using technologies, today's modern technologies, that we can achieve those values, or at least some of them to some extent. And again, if you go on GitHub right here, right, there is a file called The Evolution of Species. It's a bit outdated, right? So, don't take it for granted. But there's a lot of goals and values that we do describe here, and some of them might sound a little bit crazy, which is good. I will show you the forum where we speak about those values. And the reason I talk about it is because, well, there is a lot more than just technology. Technology, once again, is a tool to achieve certain things. When I talk about research, right, so this is the first research we are working with a certain person, with a community person. I've called it deep bidirectional transformers. And the idea is that we believe that all species and beings can control their private keys. Hence, they can communicate. Hence, they can make transactions. Hence, their will can be represented on a knowledge graph and queried. So yeah, it sounds a bit crazy. Let's not go into that right now. But I advise you and I recommend you to really read this. Now I'm speaking from the general things, not about the research itself. So you could have a look like basically user story describing the research, what is the task in order to get the grant, and definition of done, some additional info and bonus implementation. So basically every research we will publish it exactly in this way. Well, we will try at least, right? VC, right, this is kind of a tricky one. As you know, we don't do captchas, we don't do KYC, we don't do AML, we don't do bullshit. If any VC wants to come in, welcome. On general terms, what they do is they just, use exactly the same donation, follow exactly the same steps as any other user, and they come in. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I'm not going to stick on this one as well right now. But yeah, one thing I want to mention is because I did have a few questions in the chat over the past months on, and offline as well. I had people come up to me and say, well, so if I come to you and I give you like $10 million or whatever, so will you sell 50% of your company? Well, what kind of company you want me to sell? Well, this is the first question I ask them. And they say, well, you're a company, you have a company, sell it. Well, no, we don't. And this is just the first answer. Like, well, so how do I invest? Well, you just buy tokens. You just donate and you get, tokens in return. Just as simple as that. So yeah, so nothing really. But yeah, still, I understand that this is important, and it's not like I'm crossing this out. So hopefully I will get to spend some time in Europe to find some VCs that are, that prepared to, that like what we do and prepared for some smart money. So yeah, there is Cyberfund Classic. Woo! This is. Right, yeah, hi to Cyberfund. Hi Marina, hi Kostya. Yeah, the GotWeb3, yeah. Yeah, so Cyberfund Classic is... Sorry guys. It's a deep internal joke, right? So Cyberfund Classic is basically the future... Stop it, guys. Give me 5 minutes. I can do that. Right. So, all of you heard about Y Combinator, right? And we all understand that every kind of protocol or every kind of ecosystem and even some applications needs, development. And to develop that, we are gonna, there is actually a document that describes the amount of money that we want to give it and so on and so forth. But the idea is that there is, we ready to fund out of the personal bag of Cyber Congress people that want to build applications on top of cyber. And okay, this is obviously a little bit jump into the future, but I personally believe, well, that kind of feel like a personal task to me, and I really want to make sure that this works out. And I believe that this will make sure that, well, it's one of the things that will make sure that we succeed in the long run. Probably the most important metric right here, and once again, I'm jumping a little bit into the future, but we had some disagreements about that. Eventually, we came to an agreement that this is probably the most important point. I hope. If not, we'll discuss it again. I call it the important generation. A while ago, I spoke to, we have a lot of interviews prepared, guys, seriously. We have so many articles and interviews prepared for the next 2 months that this is really good. We're going to get some good traction over the next couple of months, and we will continue on this. It's not like it's a one-off thing. And I spoke to those guys, and obviously I'm going to say it as a little bit of a joke, but there is truth in every joke. And the guys asked me, what is your target audience? And I was answering jokingly, every single user of the internet. Okay, but can you be more specific? Ha ha ha, lol. I said, well, everybody who is not 18 yet. And he said, well, why not 18? I said, because I can't explain that to you. You're too stupid to understand that. You're too old. Obviously, this is like kind of, like semi-joke, not joke. I'll explain why. There is a younger generation, and we can see already that those guys are hungry for this information. They understand it. They understand what we do. They understand the core values that lay behind our technology. To us, private keys, to most of us, our generations and older generation, a private key will always remain a private key. Some kind of thing that is somewhere there to prove something. For those people, a private key is their fingerprint. If to us a digital print is a digital print, to them it's the soul, right? It's something that it's built into them, right? I mean, have a look at a 2-year-old kid, how he uses his smartphone. And, this doesn't mean we're not targeting anyone else. No, this is like the future. I'm talking about as soon as we prepare our infrastructure, which might take 1-2 years. I don't know how long this will take, right? But whatever. And, we did our initial, big chunk of work, which is probably the most major thing, and the governance is in place and everything else. I believe that the success to this story is, and again, we had some disagreements about it, but we eventually came to an agreement that younger generations are, the way to go forward. They believe in that paradigm that we are fighting for. They fight with us. I mean, go on Reddit. Have a look on the amount of information that the 20th most popular website in the world has, and it's nothing to do with blockchain, that people understand that the centralization of services within the internet is really, it sucks, right? So, and people understand that something must be done about it. Right, so then I talk about a little bit in this paper about measurement and success, and there should be a market fit. And what's a market fit? A market fit, well, it's kind of obvious what a market fit is, but a market fit should also be able to measure retention. A project should also consider that retention measurement should apply to your project needs, wishes, and desires, and C, be able to understand the usefulness of these instruments, those instruments. So here I talk about some other metrics that we can maybe not use right now, but once again, as soon as we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, we can measure them, some per block, some per day, some on-chain, some per month maybe. Once again, this is an initial proposal. There will be governance in place which will decide all of this. This is what we propose. And right, this is just going over the metrics that are there above, role of roadmap, blah, 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 etc., etc. So this is like the main document. I advise you go over it, have a look at it. The second main document, well, there's two other main documents in this folder. One is use cases. Yeah, like there is a little warning, contains personal opinions. So yeah, but a lot of people ask me, what is the use case? So you build a search, so a big deal. There's like 1 million searches out there, and I will come back to this. Actually, I spoke about it yesterday, but I might come back to it today as well. Once again, every single document, we welcome contributors. I personally welcome contributors, and I'll be happy that a lot of those things I actually wrote from talking to other people, from understanding what people want, from what people see, how they feel, and some use cases that we can speak about right now. Web3 browsers, we already built one. It's called SIB. Hey. And you should understand that SIB isn't just a browser, guys. A browser is a word in the modern language that I don't think SIB has a perfect word to describe it. The reason browser, to me personally, doesn't describe what SIB is capable of. Because for most people, a browser is just an application that lets you search something on the web. And SIB is much more. It's a personal application which will have a ton of inbuilt things about it, personal robots, ability to transact, and so on and so forth. And I don't think a browser can do that, so that's much more than a browser. But anyways, personal robots, personal assistance, database access, basic income. Yeah, this is kind of like aiming big. I believe that we solved the problem of basic income for humanity, seriously. A personal robot can solve 2 problems, personal data reselling. So if you want to sell your data, fuck you, sell it, it's your problem. This is just one example of how you can, produce basic income. Right now, you already, I mean, I'm not saying do that, but this is an example, right? In theory, you could have, trading robots, content robots, oracle mechanism, and like a lot of crazy things which are solved with the use of semantics. And all that can provide you some basic income. And today, this is a world-renowned issue, and this issue goes on for many, many years. Database access, basically, you can talk to God. I mean, I don't know if you ever spoke to God, but you are God. Each one of you is God. And imagine that, for the last 10 years, you've been trading cryptos, I don't know, whatever. You've been just trading, making some trades. You've been reading white papers on trading, and so on and so forth. Now, imagine that you're linking those things. And 10 years later, you come up to the database and you query it. You ask it, hey, what am I doing wrong with my trading? It's been following your trades. This is all your personal information. And it just fucking gives you the answer. Like, hey, are you stupid? You haven't used this and this, whatever. I don't know what you've been doing wrong. So that's one thing, one example. This is, just a bit obvious, I think. Gamification, obviously there will be, we want to work on gamification, and there's a lot of things planned that I don't think I'm ready to speak about right now, but they will be. It's not like we don't know, but some things we want to like keep a little bit, Artifacts, yeah, we'll say one word, artifacts. There will be a lot of, well, our idea is to create a subculture, and we believe that the people that we target understand what we are doing with this. We think that actually, I had a really interesting conversation with this guy a while ago who was saying, a guy from Microsoft actually, and he's not like, he's like one of the main representatives of Microsoft for Russia and CIS. And this was like a few days ago, and he was saying about how games are the future, and I was saying, well, I think you're missing out one point. Games they are the future, but you have to understand that gaming has become a part of life for people. If you listen to young people speak, they use gaming like slang in between themselves. Not because they're playing, but because they understand that slang. It's built into their minds, and gamification is really important. Education, cyber can easily become the main unbiased and uncontrolled source for any relevant information in the world. Information is dynamic inside cyber. It evolves. It doesn't stop, So a person will have access to relevant information without any intermediary opinions. Once again, you are God. Speak to it. Speak to your own God. Do whatever you want to do. Programmable or natural semantics. You can structure search results with the help of CIDR and target specific semantic cores and index apps as you wish if you were a programmer. This is crazy, guys. I mean, right now, if I create an application, I have to trust some search engine or some third party that my application will be indexed the way I want it to be indexed. That's not going to happen, right? And if any of you created applications, it doesn't work that way. This is changing. This changes it. It changes it completely. You choose what you want to be indexed, how you want it to be indexed. Earn rewards with a mistake. Hey. Let's skip that for now. Well, staking, obviously. Intercommunication knowledge graphs, right? Right, guys, all the species on Earth can have a separate knowledge graph, guys. Every single species that I know of, they can intake and output an electromagnetic impulse. As far as I know. I'm not aware of any species that can do that. Hence, they can communicate. Therefore, those species are intelligent. Quite simple, right? I mean, intelligence can be described as something really complex, but communication is our core protocol. We speak, communication, we talk communication. Have a look at people in commas. When you have a guy in comma, he's not part of the community anymore. But he can still think. But he can't communicate, and that's the problem. If you cannot communicate, you are not part of the world, right? And it's crazy. So imagine that, we don't want you to talk. We don't think you'll be able to speak directly about your day with a mouse. We're not that crazy. Well, maybe, but all species understand basic behavior mechanism. It could be survival, breeding, fighting, etc., etc., etc. That means that theoretically, if each species have a known knowledge graph, then with the help of second layer semantics and some basic machine learning algorithms, we can create interspecies communication. Yeah, I think, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sober, by the way. Search actions, right? So have a look at that. We already spoke about it. Offline search, I think we just spoke about it quite a lot. Common tools. Guys, common line tools can rely on relevant and structured answers from a search engine. This is mind-blowing. I'm not even going to talk about it. Just seriously, you can search from within the CLI. I mean, how cool is that? Like, you don't need to go anywhere. That's out of anywhere. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, autonomous robots, right? We again have a look at what I've described. Language convergence. And this is Dima's idea. I really like this. I personally didn't think about this one myself. Guys, the talk about unified language has been ongoing for as long as we know ourselves. If we can create, a unified language, that nobody should think about what language they're using, not a programmer, not a user, then, well, that's it, we're done. You have a language that is, used. Again, the semantic core is open, so, it's a competition, it's a competitive market, but it can be done, it can be achieved. Self-prediction and risk management. And a universal oracle, and a universal emotional mechanism. Right, guys, this is crazy things. Again, I'm not going to go over it because I'm going to take too long, but I'm going to just skip that. Proof of location, proof of Web3 agents.
Explain better about proof of location and geotagging in searches.
Okay, about proof of location, it's possible to construct sublinks with proof of location. What's proof of location? If you know how foam works, right? So basically you have beaks. I'm not sure if that's the right English word. Beaks, right? So beacons, yeah, sorry. That are, physical beacons, obviously, yeah. That are interconnected in a mesh. So, well, presumably in a mesh. It doesn't have to be a mesh, I presume, but it's an example. They can prove a location. You can make sure that a location actually exists and something happened in this point of place and in time in that location. So consequently, location-based search can also become provable if a Web3 agents will mine triangulations. Triangulation, we're talking about 1, 2, 3 beacons. And attach a proof of location for every linked chain. So basically, you have a hash that searches for a certain thing and proves that something happened in these triangulations, right? So you can prove, and it's quite crazy. But I advise you. I mean, I'm not gonna again it's a bit hard to explain in 2 minutes. But have a look at Foam. It's a really interesting project, and they're they're Tendermint based as well. So I'm hoping that we're gonna have, when IBC comes, a lot of things are gonna change. So yeah. Anyways, proof of Web3 agent, natural anthropology. Guys, if this thing grows, I had an article a while ago, and to my personal opinion, centralization has actually stopped us from evolving naturally, and it stopped anthropological evolvement because we have borders, and you cannot choose where you're born. You cannot choose what kind of passport you have in your pocket. So when we have a border, that means that anthropology does not evolve naturally. That means that sociology does not evolve naturally. That means that psychology doesn't evolve naturally, education, and so on and so forth. If we can connect to like-minded people with, you're linking things. Imagine you have a second layer of semantics while you're linking. Let's say you're feeling happy when you're linking one thing, cyberlinking one thing, and you're feeling sad when you're cyberlinking another thing. And then you want to find like-minded people. And then you tell that machine, find me somebody who thinks that this means happiness, and this means sadness. I don't know, whatever, right? I mean, it sounds crazy, but guys, this is actually possible, and that means that anthropology can change. Okay, I mean, we can't change borders, unfortunately, but we will work on that as well. So obviously, this leads us to amazing social networks. Motivation for read request, I'm gonna skip for now. It's a bit complicated. Prediction markets on link relevance and beyond. You can make prediction markets on everything. I love prediction markets, guys. Seriously, I mean, I love. If any of you heard of holographic consensus. We don't have that in here, but I will really when I will experiment personally with the governance, I would like to get the community to like what it means, and I hope that the community will support this. But anyways, you can have prediction markets on anything. Why prediction markets? Prediction market, if you think about it, is the most correct and probably the only example of open market interaction between two different agents, because it's real, it's honest, it doesn't have a black box, it's straightforward, and it's probably the only example of such an interaction today, at least the way I can see it. Also, you can have like prediction markets for semantics. That's a bit crazy, but yeah, but hey. Anyway, so this is another file. If everything that I just said sounds a bit mental, there is a third file in here. It's called the LE5 fuck. Explain it like I'm 5 frequently asked questions. And my attempt here is, there's about 100 questions in this file. And my attempt here is to explain to a user that has never heard about blockchain or Web3, what is this thing that we do here? And I'm starting with things like, what's wrong with Google? Why now? Why search? Aren't there any important problems to solve? Blah, 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 and so on, like a comparison that the guys did. So basically then like high-level IT explanations. What's a hash? What's a distributed technologies? What is a consensus? What's a Merkle tree? What's a blockchain? So once again, if you're not familiar with the things, go here. And my idea wasn't to use technical language. My idea was to use very, 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 very plain language and explain those things. What's bandwidth? What's Sybil resistance? So on and so forth. Obviously, when I've spoke about those things, the document later on explains about cyber. Why cyber? What is CID? What's Dura? How are cyberlinks different? Is linking that important? I'm going to stop here. I'm going to read this out to you because I think that this is really important. Guys, hyperlinks shaped the internet, Web 2, Web 1, right? And even, well, there was no before that. They have built the internet. We base our knowledge, our political, economic, educational decisions on the internet. We learn from Google. Google is our father, teacher, source of knowledge, social life, and so on and so forth. How can you trust the internet if it was shaped by something that itself was untrusted? Have you ever thought about it? I mean, you trust in the internet, which was built by hyperlinks, but hyperlinks are untrusted. I was given a speech a few weeks ago at a place, and before the beginning of the speech, there was a couple of guys in the room, and I really like the idea that a comparison from the guys that Google is the most successful religion. I can actually prove that, by the way, but nonetheless. And when I said that to the guys, that Google is a religion, they were like, no, it's not. And I was like, well, why not? Can you explain to me why you don't think so? And they're like, well, because it's not the most successful. Obviously not. So I said, well, so how many users does Christianity have? They're like, well, let me check. And I said, are you going on Google right now? I said, yeah. I rest my case. I rest my case. Seriously, guys. Like, by the way, about proof, like I don't want to offend anyone, so my apologies if I do. Google has 85 million active users, billion users per month. There are 7 billion people on Earth. If I'm not mistaken, about 30%, about 30 to 40% are Christian. So if we want to count active users, we need to count the amount of churches and the amount of people that visit churches once per week, because that's what they do. So that's the average user of Christianity. Compares to 85 billion, I think Google wins. So, I'm not even going to talk about it. So once again, yeah, so talking about cyber, what are some basic use cases once again? What is cyber page? What is SIB? What is cyber virus? How do I become a validator? And, Kirill has already explained that, so let's skip that. All the economy, how many tokens? What does each token do? What are distribution games? What is cyber auction? What are the testnet tokens? The gifts, what's Urbit? What's Ethereum? What's Cosmos? Why those particular communities? I'm going to stop here for a second. Well, the reason that we want to do it is to help the network gain traction, obviously, right? I mean, we're not going to hide that. But we want to increase the initial network participation as well. Because a network with 2 participants or with 1 participant is kind of not really a network, is it? It's a bit of a, I don't know what to call it, but it's not a network anyways. It's a standalone. This will help to increase participation and give more participants the ability to engage in the protocol. Like I said yesterday, we have over 1 million users in the Ethereum gift, right? So that's like 1 million users. By the way, the argument that a user can have more than one account doesn't really stand here, because if it has a private key, it's a separate user, guys. Each of those accounts has a separate private key. So what? So 10 of them belong to the same person. So what? This is a person in this life, but not in the digital realm. Those are 10 separate entities, guys. So that's 1 million accounts that I think that we have. We think that those communities are, the largest developer community, the most innovative community, and the most promising community. So if we can manage to get them involved, and this is why we did the gift, I think that we will, all be in a win-win situation here. Governance, cyber. Why so many cyber? What about crawlers? Why do we have a white paper? Yes, we do. Hey, we do. Are you Satoshi? No, we don't. No, we aren't. We wish and we don't wish, because we wish we were so smart, but we don't really want to be Satoshi. That's kind of silly. That would the whole destroy idea. Why are we so geeky? Because geeky is cool. Just simple as that. How do you contact you? You use our GitHub, the forum. I will show it to you in a second. Why open source? I already talked about it. Does it work? Yes. Just simple as that. It works, right? How do I join? Once again, we already spoke about it, but basically, you should play the game of links. And we're gonna release those videos as standalone videos in a couple of weeks. And there is already a lot of information on the game of links. What's an ICO? What's Gitcoin? Why don't you have? Is this religious? Yeah, by all means it is. Yeah, fuck yeah. It's the most anti-religious techno-religion in the world, guys. Yeah, so take it in or, just leave it. Are we crazy? Yeah. I think you have to be a little bit genius, a little bit crazy to do what we do. And, yeah. Is this AI related? By all means, guys. This is AI related. This is an AI. As soon as it's going to have 146 validators and, I don't know, like 10, 50, 100 users, this is an AI. This is a fucking AI, man. And it's going to work. Yeah, about the ledger. Can you build something on top of cyber? Well, yeah, you should. It's not a question. It's not a question. You should go and do it. This is why I spoke about CyberFun Classic. Hi, Marina. Hi, Costa. Some links to check out here. Again, in this folder, by the way, so instead of me going right now all the things that I open here in it's Google Chrome. Yes, it is great. There is, you can see that there is a backlog where I write all the crazy ideas that might be sometimes involved later. The communities folder, for example, here you can see what we are trying to do with Orbit. There is a whole proposal here for Orbit, what we want to achieve. We want to have an Orbit SIB wrapper, cyber wrapper, that will allow you to view the balance, manage the keys, send, receive tokens, sign transactions, allow for remote procedure calls, for example, viewing the blocks and so on and so forth. Create cyberlinks, obviously. It's kind of obvious, right? So we're still looking for somebody that is ready to do this. So if you're watching this and you know Hoon, you are welcome to contact me. Media, I've started. This is really new. It's going to contain all the media links that there is profiles. So if you ever look, I'm not saying that we develop all of those, because it's crazy to develop every single profile on the internet. But I'm collecting here every single forum that I post on, or every single YouTube channel, Bitcoin Talk, NVIDIA, Cosmos Forum, Awesome List, Cosmonaut World, subreddits, IPFS Discuss, Aragon Wiki. By the way, I don't know if you knew that we are on Aragon Wiki. Let's have a look. So if you go on Aragon, that's the wiki, the projects. Yep, right here, cyber. Yeah. For example, if you go on the let me go back. If you go on the Cosmonaut World website, once again, yeah, cyber number 1. Great. So yeah, the same thing I'm doing with the media thing, because I believe that, you know, people should be able to find really easily and really simply all the media connections and all the profiles that we do. There is the info about Gitcoin. It's quite obvious. Even events. There is like a folder called events, and there is a file called off track. Off track because events are good, but they put you off track. So that's why I call it off track. And oops. This is like the type of events that is planned or done, including online, offline events. So you can see what I'm doing. This is talking about my personal work, by the way. So I'm not including the events that, this is just to track me. So you can track me. Yeah. Roadmap, I really haven't done it yet, sorry. So yeah, it's not ready. Cyber Forum, let me just mention Cyber Forum. We have a forum. We haven't really spent a lot of time on it, but I think it's changed over the past couple of 3-4 months. I'm not sure, whatever. Right when we opened it, you need a GitHub account to register. Why? Well, because you should be cool to be able to use the forum. If you have a GitHub account, you're cool. If you don't, then you're not. You know, so. Yeah, you know, just simply, guys, everything is very simple. Guys, it's a filter, right? And it's not like we don't welcome somebody who doesn't, but we have a Telegram channel for that. You don't have a GitHub account, you welcome on our GitHub. Well, you need a GitHub account to be on GitHub shit. You're welcome to our Telegram channel. It's fuck Google, surprise, surprise, on Telegram. Yeah, you didn't expect that, did you? So yeah, so here we discuss different things. So for example, Kirill mentioned when he was doing the infrastructure talk about EULA 5, game of links. You can find the rules here. Well, link to the rules. You could find poetry here. Techno poetry. This is by user, by the way. It's not by us. Discussion about the evolution of the philosophy. I mean, this is some crazy things here. So if you can't find where to fit it, put it on the forum. It will take it. Trust me, it will keep it. This is the website, Cyber Congress AI. Quite obvious. You have the docs, the forum link, the blog link. Yeah, by the way, blog. Yeah. Once again, all of those things are in the profiles on GitHub. But yeah, you could see here, for example, the game of links. And a few people have asked me today and yesterday, where can I read the rules? Well, over here. Why black? Because black is cool. You know, why not? You have a link to cyber page. Oh no, I didn't want to press that. I already have it open. This is the main interface. Awesome, isn't it? Right? I mean, what else do you need? You know, minimalism. Right. If you press on the robot, it's not very obvious, but we will have. We had a question a while ago about user manuals. Guys, we will do that, but not right now. It's not it's not the goal right now to create user manuals.
Please tell about why eye of sight is red now and when it will be green.
Go on, you tell me.
I can tell you.
Go on, tell me.
When IPFS node will be in red, it will just signal that
So the question.
it's connected to the network.
I'm gonna repeat that so people hear it. So the question was, why is the little dot here red? So the reason is because the IPFS node is not connected. When it's connected, it goes green. Right. So if you press on this thing here, why is it not? It's because he has the. Wait, let me go back. Pocket. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Just go on it. When you press on it, what you get is you get the.
Why does it work?
I'm not sure why it doesn't work. I think it's because because it's not my computer, so I don't want to like open things that I don't know. Sorry guys, but if you go on Cyberpage, it works. We showed it before. You will have here even governance things. You have all the information about the links. You have information about the amount of validators and so on and so forth. We have a Twitter account. It's not. Whoa! Look at that. This is perfect. We have the same amount of followers and following. I just realized that. Hey, cool. By the way, you know what? I'm actually really well. You know, I mean, those are like because we've been quiet over the past like 2 days because of work. But I think that it's not really bad for like it's live. We're not using botnets. You know, I don't like all those projects that they have like 5,000 followers and 1 like. it's kind of like stupid to me, I think. Oh, wow, I'm going on Alessa's Twitter. Let's open his messages. Yeah, back to our CyberDevs account. Yeah, so I try I try to tweet once per couple of days. Sometimes I miss, sometimes I don't. But you can see that actually it's not we have retweets, and it's not just from the team. We have quite a few interesting followers, I believe. By the way, we were, for example, have a look at this. For example, this is IPFS blog, and a few weeks ago we were, excuse me, they listed us on IPFS Weekly as one of the most interesting things that happens outside in the wild, as they say. Where is that? Where is that? I missed it.
Yes, tools and projects, and the third one.
Where is it? I missed it. There we go. IPFS in the wild, and here we have some. Yeah, no, I found it.
Yeah.
I found it. I found it.
Here, I saw also like here.
Oh, that's another one. I miss that, guys. It's hard to explain simply what it is. I love that. That's really funny. Let's press that. Where does it lead to? I go to the website. Yeah, that's hard to explain what it is. Well, it's not. Go to the. So what you do is you go on here, you open Daily 5FAQ, and you read it. And then you're really clever. We have a subreddit. It's not really been used as of now. I've started to use it like really recently. Like once again, I'm more concentrated on some other subreddits. I'm not gonna like name all of them right now, but well, usually I try to always post some major news on our subreddit, which is really new, really. Like there's almost, you can see there's only 11 members here. And but I try to use other subreddits because that gets us more traction, and that's more important. Okay, once again, it's on my computer, so I'm pressing buttons and it's not working. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's not it. Actually, there's a lot more to it, but the thing is, I'm not sure that it's really, convenient now to explain every single bit of the ecosystem. The point of the ecosystem is to connect all the dots together. This is my view of it. Once again, every work that I do, 99.9% of it is here. So have a look at it, check it out. If you can't find me, then I think you've misread some of the manuals that I wrote, because like my Telegram, my GitHub account, my, well, all of the things that I do are public, so it's really easy to contact me. Yeah, that's it, guys. Any questions? Thank you.